You, sleep. Yeah. Food and then sleep.
She's beautiful.
Go. Tim, are we up? We ready to go? Yep. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Welcome to the January 14th, 2025 Victor Valley College Board of Trustees meeting.
Woo! Oh,
Am I logged in? I am
No.
not logged in.
is this on?
All right, so we will call to order. We'll have roll call.
Trustee Wood,
Here.
Trustee Tarpley,
Here.
Trustee Brady,
Here.
Trustee Tyrell,
Here.
Trustee Griffin,
Here.
Student Trustee Reyes,
Here.
Superintendent President Dr. Walden.
Here.
All right, let's see. Pledge of Allegiance. How about Kelly Cahow? Because she looked at me and smiled like, don't call my name. Where's the flag?
Over there.
Where? Okay.
You have to do taps when you move it, don't you, or something?
Yeah,
No? That's not official. Okay.
Dan has to sing.
Sorry about that.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Kelly. You did an excellent job.
President
just
Wood.
like in the second grade.
I'm pleased to ask Pastor Todd Arnett, the pastor of the largest church in the county, one in Southern California, High Desert Church, to lead us in our invocation tonight. Thank you, Pastor, for being here.
Thank you. Father God, we just want to say thank you for just a rich opportunity, just walking the halls of this brand new building. We give you the credit and thank you for the provision to have a space like this at Victor Valley College. We think of this college's mission. We thank you, God, for the lives that are being trained, people that are being prepared to serve others in this community and abroad. We thank you, God, for the ways that there are people that are deeply invested in seeing students grow and seeing them equipped, God, for lives that are going to matter and make a difference. So we just thank you for this college's place in our community. Thank you, God, for leaders like the board, superintendent, others that are here tonight for this meeting. And I just pray that the meeting itself would benefit further the mission, further continue to affect lives, God, positively here in this valley. And God, when we think of the longevity, when we think of the arc of what you're doing with people that are having an education and having the opportunity to grow and learn things they didn't know and even become people they didn't think they could become, thank you for what you're doing through VVC. We love you and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, we do have public comment. I believe there's one min submitted
It's for action.
for action, yep.
This is not action.
Okay.
This is non-agendized.
Announcement of items deleted or corrected, are there any?
None.
All right, there's no public comment for non-agenda items. And we'll go to Board of Trustee goals. I believe that's Joseph W. Brady.
You have to say the whole thing.
Emphasize the W, right?
W.
Well, thank you. First thing, I didn't get a chance last month to discuss the trip to the CCLC conference up in San Francisco, which was real successful. And like I said before, it gives you a chance to talk to other trustees about issues that you're having. I'm kind of one of the older guys now. In my early years, I'd walk around as a kind of a lost dog trying to find somebody that would kind of help. I remember, Brandon, you remember we would kind of walk around trying to find somebody that would feel sorry for us and would answer our questions. But no, it was real exciting. And so what I brought here, I asked the office to clip this. One of these for Dr. Walden, and then one for Trustee Terrell, and one for Trustee Griffin on a new trusteeship. So it's a PowerPoint. It talks about just a couple things I found rather interesting out of this is what I think is kind of a low percentage of trustees that actually go through the training. In California, it's something like 27%. It says nationally, 20 to 25% of community college trustees participate in training. And in California, 27% of community college trustees participate. So
we're above the nation's average.
Yeah.
And take that as a win.
And I think that, based on what I see on up there, the trustees that go really, do care. I know there's some training this month. Hopefully some of our new people will be able to get there. So that part is pretty pretty easy to read. The other portion, so I'm going to talk about housing next month because I went to a breakout session. It was led by one of the attorneys with Liebert, Hanson, whatever that group is.
Cassidy?
Yeah, Cassidy. It really talked about student housing and where that's going to go. And I asked my office late today because I had misplaced this, so please bear with me. Pass that down. One that we go to, I think, our student trustee. So, Dr. Walden, you may want to share this with some of your senior staff. I know that Todd and Mackenzie would really like it. This came out of a workshop. It was almost one of the last workshops, and it was about AI. And the one thing I really came away with there, I said this last time, but I can't overemphasize it, because in my office, I'm the dumbest guy when it comes to technology. I'm good at negotiating, but not good at technology. And the world right now is all about AI. I had attended a national conference on industrial development, which I'm on the board, and that was all about AI. There is a lady, and when I bring that panel next time, she's from UCR. She seems to be the person in Southern California from an academic standpoint and within the community college standpoint that really has seemed to have studied this. And for her to get asked by the CCLC to speak, I think says a lot. I asked her candidly, I said, what would it cost us to have you come on up there? And I think she said I'd take a lunch to come up from UCR. So, but the second AI presentation that was on Saturday morning, talks about jobs and careers, and it's this is something you really got to sit and study. But the top 25 paying associate degree jobs, and where the occupations are going to go. So the top 10 occupations, importance of AI impacted skills are software developers, computer user support, sales representatives, computer systems analysts, computer and information system managers, customer service reps, computer occupations, general and operations managers, telecommunication, and project management. I have noticed I get a large amount of email, and I had an exchange with somebody in the High Desert the other day that I have a lot of respect for in the governmental side. And I posed a bunch of questions to that person, and very quickly I got a document back, and it was absolutely beyond AI generated. So I emailed and I said, hey, did AI do your work? And he said, no. I responded and AI put it together for me. And it was very organized. It was like presentation format. And this person said to me, Joe, I'm not a very good writer, but AI really changed that. So, again, I appreciate the opportunity to attend these conferences. I think it's important when we do that we report back. And next month I will talk about housing. So I opted not to talk about any industry lunches. I need to get together, Mackenzie and Todd, sometime soon to figure out where we're going to roll for our next batch. So unfortunately, we're just running way behind in our business. So that's my report, Mr. President.
You were actually up for board goals.
Well, that I swapped
That's what
it.
he's saying.
I swapped it.
For the community.
I told Dan, I said, the goal I have is these industry lunches, which are really fun, but we don't have any scheduled right now. And I thought really my trip to San Francisco was more important.
All right, let's go to the student trustee.
All right. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I just want to let you know, Lights of Love was amazing, as always. If you look at Ram's report on our YouTube for VVC, as well as Instagram, you'll see all the lovely pictures and all the happy faces of the children. I also want to say a big thank you to Trustee Dr. Griffin for reaching out to Advisor Sewell about a VV student in need. We were able to take care of her children for Christmas, and it's just amazing to give back to everyone and to our VVC community. And that will be all. Thank you.
Great job. Team effort.
All right, Trustee Griffin.
Well, good evening. So this past week, I had an opportunity to attend the basketball game against where we played. Well, I only attended the boys' basketball game against Bar State Community College, and I am a basketball enthusiast. So it was a pleasure for me to be there. I wish I had gotten a chance to go to the girls' game because I understand the girls are dynamic. But so our guys. They were doing really well the first half, but the second half, Barstow College was able to actually pull off the win. Thank you for covering the Lights of Love, because I plan to talk about that as well. So yeah, that was really wonderful. And it actually caused me to stick my chest out a lot. This woman was actually in tears when I spoke with her, and she told me how Lights of Love changed her children's Christmas because of her economic downfall. She was unable to purchase, so that was great. Also last week, I got a chance to go to the beginning boardsmanship training that was sponsored by San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools, and that was very informative. I got a chance to meet a panel of board members from various schools throughout this county. And, it was a lot of good information, stuff that you need to know if you're a beginning trustee. Most of the attendees were representatives from K through 12 schools, but the information still translates. So it was really good for me to be there. Thank you. That's it.
Trustee Terrell.
I had a pretty quiet month, but I followed that up with a tour of the Mitsubishi cement plant with Dr. Walden and some of his staff to give them an idea as to what careers we have available and why career technical education is such a passionate program for me.
Trustee Tarpley.
Oh, that's me. Also a very quiet month for me as I acclimate from the world of education to the private sector. But I am happy to announce that I'm over the hump and feeling much more comfortable. So you'll see me a lot more now.
But you got short, and you guys in the private public schools, you get like 2 weeks off. In the
I had
private,
like
I don't
17 weeks at that point because I had been in it for so long, and so now I'm very sad about
You don't get that much off the project.
No. No, sir.
It's okay.
All right, and then me, I guess. Tim, are you good? You're good? So I had the pleasure of being in the right place at the right time. The 2024 People's Choice Awards, there was competing events that drew Dr. Walden and others away that evening. And so Bill Tate from the ASB and myself were honored to, I'm talking slow because I'm waiting for Tim back there. Yeah, I kind of did Tim dirty. I texted him what I wanted to put up on the screen.
Like 2 minutes
Like,
ago.
yeah, like right now, and said, hey, Tim,
How did I know?
just fix this. It's Tim. So I had the honor of accepting. Bill accepted. I went with him because he was scared to go across the stage by himself.
Is that true, Bill? Absolutely not. I agree. I agree.
He was very intimidated, very scared. So a couple of really good things. Are we close?
I mean, you're asking him to work miracles here.
I know. It's just like me to send them to him like 36
To
seconds
his
before
phone.
I
Did you
want
send
them.
it to his phone?
Yeah, of course. Tim, if you need a minute, I have an idea. We could skip to the audit presentation and I can come back to this.
That wouldn't help.
It wouldn't help?
No,
Oh,
because
because he needs the overhead.
yeah, all that stuff under my report is got
Audio
its own
visual.
presentations.
I'm just thinking it would buy him a second, but he's close. You can tell.
I want to teach you a word, Tim.
No.
No. It's a fun word. I use it a lot. No.
So I guess I'll just fill while he's back there getting it together. So I'm happy to report that Victor Valley College basically took every award that for every category that we potentially could have been in.
Yeah.
So we were the winner, number one, for high desert employers of 500 or more employees. We were the winner for best technical/trade school. And we were the winner for colleges and universities. So we had a 3 across the board sweep on the win. And so I did collect the awards, and then I forgot them this morning at my house. So I'll drop them by your office.
So he's basically giving you IOU awards.
Right, yeah. I have photos that Tim's going to prove for me in just a minute. So it was a wonderful evening. We probably should call Bill up to talk about who he met. That'll embarrass him. Who he hung out with. Yeah, look, he's saying no. You're saying yes? Absolutely not. So probably best for Robert to know this, to know what his ASB people are out doing when he's not watching like he likes to do. Miss California, who was leaving in like 2 weeks from the night that we were there at the awards event, was leaving to go compete in the Miss USA pageant. She was sitting at a table by herself, which seemed odd. She was one of the presenters. And so Bill made nice with her and started talking to her. So one of Bill's passion projects involves reading and books. He could explain it better. If I'm butchering it, feel free to come to the microphone, buddy. You want to come tell the story yourself, or? You're doing great. Doing great, okay. So Bill started talking to Miss California about his involvement with Victor Valley College, about being on the ASB, about what the college and the ASB does, and about this book reading outreach program, and started roping Miss California in to be an assistant and I don't know, what would you call it? You were a liaison or an ambassador to these various programs, and she was very excited about it, and they exchanged information. I thought it was a funny way for Bill to to get a pretty girl's phone number, but whatever works, I guess.
What if she
Whatever it
wins?
takes.
What if
Right,
she
whatever
wins
it takes.
Miss USA on the platforms that Bill gave her?
Right. Well, she may win Miss USA and then say, I owe it all to Bill. That'd be
Tate.
cool. So also a good night for VVC in the sense that not only did we sweep on the wins, but also
Don't say it.
Bill conducted outreach to and she
That's a good way to put
I think she sincerely said she would support doing some ambassador work with our college and with Bill's reading program that he's a part of. So that was pretty cool as well. Also, lastly, I went and approached even though I'm not supposed to do this kind of stuff, but whatever, Dan. I went and approached the people who plan the Best of the Desert, the banquet and the dinner. They do it at the Victorville Fairgrounds. And I said, hey, have you guys heard of our new event center? And got business cards for the people who get to pick the location and plan, and exchanged information with them and provided them with Chris's contact info. So hopefully next year, the Best of the Desert Awards banquet ceremony will be right here in our banquet center. So
Good job.
that would be cool. So it was a very fun evening. Felt like it was very productive. Tim, I just can't keep rambling on. I mean, I
He
could,
can.
but I'm not
I mean,
going
he
to.
can. Let's just move along.
We can move along.
Bring the pictures next month.
We believe
Well, we
that
get-
there are pictures.
I
and
think
it's
Tim will
fine.
get them up and
In 2020.
so we can after Dan's presentations or something. Will that help you? Yes. Okay. So we'll move right along to Superintendent President Dr. Walden.
Thank you.
Take it away.
All right, so one of our favorite subjects every year is the audit report. And so I'm going to start with our Vice President of Admin Services, Dr. Eric Freeman, who's going to give some introductory remarks. I would just point out to all of the board that you all have this document here, the CWDL. And so this is a letter to you from the auditors, and of course they're here to present as well. So we'll turn it over to you, Eric.
All right, thank you. Good evening, President Wood, members of the board, and Dr. Walden. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce our auditor, who will be up in a second. There's been some discussion over the last couple board meetings on some calculations, some oversight of the audit. One of those big conversations was something called fair market value. And so when we went back and looked at it, it was a communication error between the folks helping with the audit on our side and the audit firm. So we were using an incorrect number. We're supposed to use the one provided by the County Office of Education. That was corrected, but you'll see that in the findings. So it was a miscommunication between the folks helping out in fiscal on our side and the auditor. The other thing I just want to mention is that you will find one finding in the audit if you dig deep, and I know that John will go over that. It's on page 86. But it says a material weakness and internal control over finance reporting. And it just talks about the large turnover in the fiscal services department. Some of those resulted in some corrections that the auditor identified. We've identified those also. I've been here 2.5 months, and so we have a plan moving forward for fiscal service policies and manuals. So what happens if you don't have things written down in policies and procedures and manuals? When you have turnover, then the history, the way you do things leaves the building. And so Jackson's been here since July 1. I've been here since end of October. So in the next 6 months, we're providing direction, training to ensure that we don't have the type of reporting that the board had to look at the budget 3 times last year. So I'm confident in that. But I just want to point those things out before we brought up John, and just be transparent in our own audit findings, and we are moving forward working to correct those things, and those will not happen next year. So with that, I want to introduce John Dominguez. He's from CDWL. He's going to come up and he's going to plug in real quick his, oh, it's up, but.
Give that a try. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, on behalf of CWDL, pleased to be here to go over some results from the audit. And maybe before I dive into that, just express our appreciation to the staff throughout the district. There's obviously a large volume of work that goes into these audits and getting this final report. We render 4 opinions throughout the report. The first being our independent auditor's report on the financial statements. And so in that opinion, we're indicating that the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. That's an unmodified opinion, which essentially means that after the audit was conducted and performed, after the adjustments that management made and that our firm identified, we felt that the financials were correct. Management and their consultants agreed. We obviously spent a lot of time making sure we were all comfortable with these final numbers because there were such a large number of adjustments needed there. And that, again, is reflected in what was just spoken about with the comment and the finding. But nonetheless, we did feel like we ultimately arrived at accurate, complete financials. And so that first of 4 opinions is unmodified there. Briefly, just going through the management's discussion and analysis, I wanted to point out the overview just to indicate that these are entity-wide financial statements and present the operations of the district consolidated. So it's that GASB 3435 reporting model. Just as you're well aware, not the fund-based basis of accounting that you may see for budget purposes, for some other financial reporting purposes. These, as required by GASB, are on the full accrual basis of accounting, all consolidated. And then another section in the MD&A, just to point out the FTES trend. Obviously, the district is seeing some positive trends in that increase in the FTES there for the 23-24 fiscal year. And then finally, some budgetary highlights. And again, just to point out, these are highlights for management. We do not audit the budgeted details. We're auditing actuals, and that's what our opinion is rendered on. And so if we look into the core financial statements, that statement of net position, the district did arrive at a final total net position of the $32.6 million. And in that, you have all of, again, those conversion entries that we talked about where we're taking the district's general fund, all other funds, that are reported on the 311 State Chancellor's Office, and we're performing those required GASB conversion entries, bringing on all the long-term items in nature, such as capital assets, long-term debt, pensions, OPEB, all those various items that are required by GASB 34 and 35. So those are all reflected here. And then I did want to point out, as mentioned, if we look at our statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position, we did see that prior period adjustment in note 15. So I'll just briefly draw your attention there. Management did a great job of providing the detail, again, full transparency of what kind of drove those adjustments. And so you'll see a number of those adjustments that impacted beginning net position there at the top. The items that do not reflect the net position are indicated down below. And again, a number of these items were identified by our firm after management and their consultants closed the books and provided final trial balances to us. And because of not only the volume, but kind of the nature of some of these adjustments was the basis for that finding, just to say there's definitely an area for improvement in financial reporting. And we do have full confidence in the team that that's already been rectified and will be going forward once we had the opportunity to work with them and kind of work through a number of these adjustments. Again, the ones that were identified by consultants, by management, and then in addition, the ones that our firm identified after getting those final closed books. We just wanted to have those presented here, and I do think that'll be rectified going forward. Question?
Your comment a minute ago about the team, your team or our team?
In what context was
team.
that?
Okay.
Yeah. No, the new fiscal management
Right.
team. Yes, yeah, we had very, very good rapport in getting these financials to a place where we're all comfortable with. Obviously, the consultants play a big role in that as well. And again, just to emphasize that after receiving those final figures that we're given their blessing by both groups, we did still have additional adjustments. Again, very collaborative process. We worked through that with them, and all parties feel very comfortable with these final set of financials. And then just lastly, kind of a highlight on the reconciliation from governmental funds to the statement of net position. We found this to be a good resource for that question of, well, how do we get from our fund basis of accounting, that we see, the budgets on the 311 to this net position on full accrual. It's here on page 73, this reconciliation. So you'll see all fund information presented at the top. And I mentioned those GASB conversion entries. Those are all identified there below, so that the OPEB adjustments, bringing on the trust activity, bringing on lease receivables, the deferred outflows and inflows is all reflected here. So it's a good page to give the reader of the financials some perspective of what really drives those differences. And then finally, our schedule of findings and question costs we've discussed. The one finding over the financial reporting process, which we fully expect has been and will be corrected moving forward. We did not identify any instances of non-compliance, both in federal and state programs, so that's a good opinion on those opinions as well. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about procedures, results, anything related to the audit for this period.
I just, Mary's not here that gave
She
the
is?
report.
Yeah, she's here.
Is she here?
She's
Hi,
hiding.
Mary, how are you? So we've come a long way. And I want to thank you personally for the presentation you made that night. I know it was a very hard one. And Eric, I want to compliment you for your eloquent comments before. I mean, you could be a good politician. And I also want to thank Dr. Walden for the transparency. We had quite a conversation the other day, and I appreciated the responses. So thanks, everyone.
So I had a comment. I thank you, first of all, for being here. Thank you for conducting the audit. I'm a new trustee here at Victor Valley Community College, and although I'm right-brained, I love words. I like numbers also, so I like them both. And you speak really fast, so I'm wondering, can you, just for me, summarize in maybe 2 or 3 sentences what accounted for the initial discrepancies from the beginning until now, just in a couple sentences?
So if I go back to that note 15, we can look at just a couple of items that I can speak to, maybe a few of the larger ones. So, again, that physical property and plant funds received by the district in 22-23 that were pulled back at essentially the budget level, the state level. The district accrued those, thought they were going to be received, and subsequently determined we're not going to receive these funds. So wanted to be transparent and make that adjustment. That's an example. The fair market value was spoken about, where we were asked to provide a template, and so we did that, provided that to the consultants, and that wasn't checked to the county treasury rate. Had we been asked to prepare it in full, we certainly would have done that, but we provided that template, so just a miscommunication there. And so that drove that difference in the cash and county, that fair market value adjustment. And again, once that's identified, all parties want accuracy. That's the most important thing. And so, we all ultimately came together. The financials are, quite complex. So there were a number of meetings, I would say 15, 20 plus meetings from our staff, as well as the consultants and management to really, decipher what had been done, what was as we stood there as the books that were closed, and what needed to be further adjusted to properly state those. So again, I think it ultimately became a positive collaborative process where we got to good ending results. But hopefully that wasn't quite 2 or 3 sentences. And hopefully
No,
I slowed down a little bit, but I would say again, we're just correcting things that we identified. And the last one I'll speak to was that decrease in the GIC cash. So actually on the statement, we got a confirmation statement that was inaccurate for some reason on their side. So the advisors that oversee those funds had
GID?
the GIC, yeah. It's an investment account.
Okay.
Yeah, guaranteed investment account that the district had put some funds in. It's been a tremendous program. It's been very, very successful for the district. But in a weird reporting quirk, the statement they gave the district was actually incorrect. And so we identified that as part of the audit procedures and proposed that adjustment that management agreed with. So yeah,
Thank you very
some
much.
cleanup and corrections.
Yeah, and I was able to follow that, so
Good.
I'm glad you took the time and broke that down for me. And I believe I heard Mr. Breedman say that we're going to have some kind of training coming up to ensure that something like what happened doesn't happen again, so that's good. Thank you very much.
Well, the main thing to think about is you haven't seen this kind of thing before. We had things in place, but as Eric pointed out, they weren't written down. So we lost our budget person and our VP all at the same time. And because they weren't written down, things got real muddy. And So that's what the finding is really about. And our response, when you have a finding in an audit, the first thing that you do, especially if it's a first-time finding, second times are not very popular if you have the same finding again, but which we will not have. But we responded as to how we were going to deal with this, which is we are in the process, and Mary's group is helping us to write all this process down. And so when we actually present a tentative budget this next year in June, it will look very similar to what you're going to get in September, unlike this last year where we had a regime change, team change, people leaving, and new people coming in that just didn't have the same information and process for doing things. So I want to thank the audit firm for helping us find this stuff. And I want to thank Cambridge West for working with us. Mary, I know you're representing them and you're presenting on something different in a minute. Not as Cambridge West, but it's something else. But anyway, she wears a lot of hats because she's retired and she can do that. But anyway, everybody together, and then Eric coming in and Jackson. Jackson's actually on a pre-planned trip and is away for a few weeks, but everybody just really pulled together, and now it's all right now. Everything's cool, and I'm really glad you caught the situation with the GIC. That was really about the bank not giving us our interest, and you found that. Thank you. We were able to go back and get that money. So things are good, and we're going to have this all fixed and written down in policies and procedures, and that way if there are people leave and whatever in the future, there's something written down for us to follow.
Dr. Walton, stupid question, and if you don't know, you don't know. Does anybody know what the balance of the GIC is tonight?
Off the top of their heads?
No,
The
just
gala, it no longer exists.
yeah, it should be.
The GIC is zero.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question.
Yes, because it
was a
was
trick
over. Well, it had to be finished by the end of December.
Right.
You had to, or else send the money back to the state. So we closed that out.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
All right. So the next thing, Mary, come and tell us about. I think I was going to have Haley do this after you, but I think I'm going to have her do this first. Go ahead and stay at the podium.
Uh-oh.
But Haley, tell us what happened and why Mary is actually talking to us tonight.
So last year's Associate Student Body Council wrote 3 resolutions that were submitted to the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. One of those happened to be the use of EBT and CalFresh being operated on campus, especially with hot foods. That got passed through the Student Senate. Eventually it went to the House and the Assembly for the state of California, which was eventually approved there. And it was recently, I believe in September, signed into law by Governor Newsom. So now every community college in the state of California is required to have one place on campus that offers EBT. And so Mary, the wonderful person she is, and Dr. Walden and everyone else that's been a part of this collaboration has finally put the presentation together and the contracts so that we can have that. It's come a long way, and I'm excited to witness this, and we're so excited to see what the next step is. Thank you.
So our students authored this whole thing, pushed it through, went all the way through the legislature. You just heard it. And now it's a law because of what VVC students did. So we're having an impact. So Mary's going to tell us about what we're doing.
Yes. I'm here tonight representing I have my own small consulting firm that works on projects predominantly for student basic needs. And my firm actually did the work to implement the Fresh Success program that the board had a presentation about in November from Amber Allen. And I'm happy to report to you tonight that we're just about to submit their first quarterly report to the Foundation for California Community Colleges, and they have 30 participants in their first quarter. I don't think any community college in the state of California had that many students served in their first quarter. So hats off to that program because it's doing very well here. But tonight we're here to talk about the EBT program. And I have this noted in a slide, but prior to the students even getting this to the state legislature, this board actually asked the college president to implement EBT on the campus. So Dr. Walden and I began talking about getting EBT implemented on the campus at about the same time we were talking about implementing the Fresh Success program. So you all were way, way ahead of the curve, and you'll be one of the very first community colleges in the state probably to get this implemented that isn't already implemented at community colleges, because I actually have implemented several at community colleges that I worked for before, so have some experience with this. So next slide, please. So what is EBT? EBT is electronic benefits transfer. So it's a government program, and it's for students who are eligible for CalFresh benefits to actually pay for food on campus. And it allows them to pay for it at a retail store. And there's also a separate program called Restaurant Meals Program that we're also working on as well. So this is, EBT is the SNAP program, which is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which was formerly known as food stamps. And there's a couple of other programs that are EBT, but for our students, it's the SNAP program. And it automatically loads some benefits onto the card every month that the students then can use at the college in either the Rams store, the Rams Cafe, or the Desert Rock Cafe. Next slide. So AB 2033, which is what Haley was referring to, is a required situation now for all community colleges in California to implement the EBT retailer specifically by September 1st of 2025. Again, you'll be very far ahead of that target. So it was sponsored by Assemblyman Reyes, and it's so that community colleges have those resources available to its students who are CalFresh recipients. And I did put this note here that the Victor Valley Community College District Board was way in front of this legislation. So really, this sounds like an easy program to implement, right? Yeah. Next slide. So these are all the things that go into implementing the EBT retailer program. So you have to get the correct point of sale system. So that's one of the things we'll have to do for the Rams Cafe, is to get a new correct point of sale system for them, and to make sure that everything is in compliance, because we have to put an application in, verify the eligibility, put everything in place, because then this is a federal program. So the feds from the USDA, Food and Nutrition Service, will come out, and they don't tell you ahead of time. They just do a surprise visit to make sure that you are complying with all of their requirements. So our job is to make sure that the application gets prepared correctly, to make sure that everything is in place for the site visit. We have worked very closely with the feds in the prior colleges that we've implemented this program at, so we've got very good relationships with them. And so there are things that you have to have, specific signage that you have to have in the Ram store, and different types of elements that are critical for this in order to be approved for this. So we think it'll take about 4 months for the approval. Next slide. So the other program that we're working on implementing as well is called the Restaurant Meals Program. Something that I'm very proud of is when I was a vice president of administrative services almost 2 decades ago, I was the first, the college I was at was the first college in the state. Of all colleges in the state of California, we were the first to have a restaurant meals program. So we established the process for all other colleges in California to be able to have a restaurant meals program. It took me 3 years. I'll go on from there. So the restaurant meals program really allows the student to use their CalFresh benefits in the cafes that we have here so that they can get a hot meal. And we also work with both of the cafes to make sure that we also have a reasonably priced meal and a healthy meal option for the students to be able to use their benefits. So this program takes a little bit longer because we have to work with both the federal and the county groups to get this program implemented. It'll take probably about 6 months for implementation of this, but we expect both programs in place by the fall. Next slide. So why use us? Well, you know me, so I don't know how much I have to go into about me, but the team I have and I have worked together on these programs for more than a decade. So we have really good experience. We incorporate training. We follow it up with making sure they're ready for any audits or anything else that comes up after they start the program. So thank you. And then we work with them on a long-term program. Also, you have to reapply every 3 years, so at that 3-year mark, we'll remind them to reapply, give them the materials to reapply, and give them help if they need it. Next slide. And any questions?
Excellent.
Good job.
Happy
So
to do it.
excited.
Happy to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. All right, so ASB goals.
All right. Again, just thank you so much for the EVT thing. I'm just really ecstatic to see how this goes. Just some current things we did these past couple weeks. We met with our administrators. Right now, we're identifying ways to create a pamphlet or how-to videos with the Human Resources Department under Monica Martinez, and then Federal Work Study under Robbie Richards. So for our student employment goals, so we can show students another way. Well, not another way, but a more in-depth and detail of how to fill out the application process, which will streamline the hiring process. And then we also met with Vice President Eric Freeman to find out where we were with the shaded structures and the art building. The art building, I believe, has carpets coming soon. They're waiting on those quotes, and then the architect will be coming out to talk to Dr. Freeman for the shaded structures.
Thank you. That's awesome. All right, now we have a facilities update presentation.
All right. Later in the board agenda, there's an item to approve a design fee for the central plant. So I just want to take a few minutes to talk about what that central plant is. And we have Morley here, so if I say anything wrong, he's going to throw something at me. So let's see how it goes. So this would be architect and engineering services for improvements of the central plant. So if we go to the next slide. So Mr. Sewell promised me that he did not put that on Google Maps. But
think maybe.
if you go to the Google Maps page of our campus, that's what it says. So I guess I believe him. I don't know him that well yet. So,
Don't believe him.
yeah. So the central plant, what we're talking about is the upper campus. When it was designed, the majority around the lake or the Sewell Pond is run by our central plant. So what is our central plant? Our central plant is hydronics water lines that run and control the majority of our cooling and heating on the upper campus. So there's one central plant. I'll show you, and you can see it on the yellow outline there. That's where our heating and cooling comes from for the upper campus. And so if we can go to the next page, next slide. So basically the water comes in, goes through these chillers. I'll show you what those look like. Goes out to buildings and classrooms, comes back the lines to a cooling tower, which the board approved a new cooling tower a few months back, and then goes through this whole cycle. So we're continuously cycling water throughout the upper campus for heating and cooling. Some of the buildings up there have their own individual units, and some have individual boilers that heat, but the majority, about 80% of the campus and the upper campus, is run by the central plant. So next slide. So this is our building from the back, and you can see that on the left, the two doors there, that's where our boilers are. So when the water line comes in, it goes to there, heats up the water, and goes out to our heating units across the lower campus. On the right side, those two bays, those are chillers, and that's our refrigeration, over 20 years old. we're moving along. But if one of those goes down, there's two chillers. If one of them goes down, we do not have the capability to cool the upper campus. And so those two have to be running all the time. As well as if we go to the next slide. So there's the chiller. We have two of those right next to each other. And so next slide. And then the other part of that, what I mentioned, was our cooling tower. And so a few months ago, the board approved an emergency purchase and installation of a new central plant cooling tower. And so this is also due for install. So right now we have the two chillers, we have the cooling tower, and we're going for a new cooling tower, and the two chillers are working at this moment. So why are we coming to you for design of additional chillers and coolers? So next slide. So really it's about doubling the capacity of existing plants, chillers, and cooling tower. So if one of those chillers goes down, we lose air conditioning. And so we want to double the capacity of that. We want to have a backup. I know heating and air conditioning are really important in the high desert. I've learned that in this valley, or people tell me. We'll find out what that looks like. It'll protect against chiller outages. And then also, it's a much more efficient system than putting just a package unit on a building. And so if we expand this central plant, then as units go down, we can add them to the central plant instead of redoing their own system. So for example, we've had issues in the gymnasium for several years. And so we can look at, if we expand, running the lines down the gymnasium, run the gymnasium off the central plant instead of relooking at putting new units on there. Also, if we build on the upper campus, it future-proofs it. And like I said, they're much more efficient to run. Can we go to the next slide? So I showed you that building. What would go right next to that building is a 40 by 40, a mirror of that other building. Currently, we're only talking about chillers, not extra boilers. And then on the right-hand side, that's where the extra cooling tower would go. And so next slide. So let's talk about design fees. So this might be a shock to not school folks. We'll talk about what that looks like in a second. But when we go out and do a project in a school, any college, we have to go through something called Division of State Architects. So it has to be architect approved. And I'll explain a little bit about DSA, Division of State Architect, in a minute. So you can see the architect fee. And then to design the system, you bring in different engineers. And then you can see the design fee there. There's two additional options. One's thermal storage. And so that is a separate storage unit that will hold the heated or cooled water for more efficiency. And then site optimization, they would look at all of the ducts and things in the buildings to see if that we could have some improvement there. So the grand total fixed fee is $600,000 for design. And then this is a $9 million project. That's what we thought. But much needed with the age of the system, the redundancy. We would use capital outlay to start, but this project would also be eligible for that state bond Proposition 2 that just passed, where we could submit this project and hopefully get 60 cents back on the dollar. So the state really looks at heating, cooling, infrastructure to approve those projects. So there's no guarantee there, but we would go back and try to get at least half of it back from the state. Next slide.
Question.
Please.
Are the lines from the existing central plant currently located on those buildings that do not have central plant?
No, we would have to add those lines.
Is that cost in this consideration?
No.
This is just design cost, right?
Yeah, this is just design.
It's nothing,
I'm sorry, private sector, this would just not fly.
this is how, yeah, I know.
$600,000 just to design it. There's no way to use a combined engineering firm to do this, or is this mandated by the state?
DSA, baby.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So I do
No
have a
competing
question.
quotes or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, but they're,
It has to be approved vendors.
Steve, the architects that do buildings get a set percentage. So they figure out what they think it's gonna cost, and then I'm gonna tell you, it's a racket.
For
I'm glad
brick
that
and
somebody else
mortar
is speaking up and
squares.
complaining about it. It's a racket.
Yep.
It's costing us 40% more to build a building.
$600,000 just to
Just
design
for
it?
design.
However, if we want to improve the AC on and.
Well, I agree,
heating
it's a
on
much more
campus-
efficient system.
Yeah, but if we agree to do this, I cannot count on my hands and feet how many times I've heard how hot the classrooms are and how cold the classrooms are depending on the season, and how miserable of a learning environment that is, and how miserable of a work environment that is for our staff. So with this additional cost, is this going to even that out for our staff and for our students?
So the answer to that is that this is the best solution for the problem. Now, I don't know, David, you might help me out, but I think this is like one of the number one, well, if we don't count SAS right now, probably one of the number one issues on campus, wouldn't you say, in regard to facilities?
Yeah.
Is heating, cooling?
Now shut on some really bad stuff that you have to clear.
Yeah. So in other words, we've got to do something. This central plant's on its last leg. We're estimating, I mean, we will go out for bid on the central plant at some point, but the estimate right now is north of $9 million. There's no sense in going in and building a replica of what we have because the college is growing. Not all of our buildings are on it. It's just at some point, I think you mentioned the gymnasium is going to need, replacement of its HVAC, and when that happens, we would like to plug it into the central plant. So this is what we need. And the other thing that's happening here is where we're not dependent on one thing going down.
Right.
So right now, if a chiller goes down, we're down.
I absolutely understand all of that. However, is this transition, is this pivot to this focus going to help our staff and our students?
Yes,
in
absolutely.
hot times and cold times?
Absolutely. But if you're asking me, will anything ever break or will there ever
No,
be?
I'm not saying that at all.
That would not be that's a question I could
It
answer.
always breaks, that's
But-
why I have a day
Of course.
job.
But yes, this is the answer. This is what we need to
So-
do to fix the problem.
Also,
So I got one. You say 80% of the current upper campus is supplied by the central plant.
Yes.
And if something goes down, we can't heat or cool. We're already getting complaints for heating and cooling right now. What kind of a design, over-design did you incorporate into this so we can ensure that we can add
Forward plan.
the gymnasium, we can add the other 20% and still have the ability for one chiller to go down or one side to go down and maintain the cooling? I mean, is that part of the design consideration?
Absolutely. So design consideration, we talked about new buildings on the upper campus. We talked about, this would do the gym. This down the road, when we're probably all not here, if this ever needed to go on the central plant, it could also do it. So it would meet all the needs of the majority of our campus.
And still have one side go down and still be able to maintain
Yes.
it?
okay, so just my question, just to finish what I was going to say, and forgive me because I'm not an HVAC person
Yeah.
and I'm not a mechanical person
Sure.
at all. That's my husband's job. Is this AC or is this like, what is that? Those box things that you have that do the water? What is that called? Not a
Swamp cooler?
Swamp cooler. Is that what this is?
No, absolutely not. This
It's
is
AC.
This is AC.
Legitimate AC
Yes.
for our people. Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure. Thank you.
And we've had, I think, the academic senate came and spoke about some
Oh, it's humid as hell.
HVAC issues we've had out at the Regional Training Center. So we have 10 units going in now. So there has been some HVAC issues across the campus that we've identified and trying to deal with immediately so we can meet the needs of our students and staff.
So, and this says 18 to 24 months after DSA?
Yeah, no,
Which
total,
is
from tonight,
total.
if it was approved.
Okay.
So can I, just going to go through that real quick. So, plan design fee would be today. And then, PCH would have to,
Like-
develop the plans, our architect, and they submit to the Division of State Architect. So Division of State Architect is something that no one else has. I think the only more restrictions on building in California are hospitals. We're right behind hospitals. So DSA was started in 1906 after the San Francisco earthquake, where 80% of the city was destroyed, followed by the 1933 earthquake in Long Beach, where Long Beach Unified School District lost 120 schools. And so the state started this program. So they look at structural, fire and life safety, access, and energy. And so some of us in this world think it's a little bit too much these days, but that's where it started. And so we have to submit the DSA through a licensed architect. Once it comes back, we bid out the project, we bring that to the board for bid, and then construction. So from tonight to completion, we're looking at 18 to 24 months. And 18 months is pretty standard in colleges or schools for construction. So it also depends on units. At a project I did in my last district, the units were 12 months delayed. So that's why I say 18 to 24.
Do
So
we
the only groups that are under this DSA thing that I'm aware of, Morley, you might correct me, it's basically K through 14, right? I mean, hospitals have their own thing.
Yes.
But,
Hodgepodge.
so this is K through, so the CSUs, the UCs, and private sectors not under this DSA, but because our funding is in Prop 98, which is, that's how we get funded as an institution, is with the K-12s. So even though we get a third less per student than the K-12s get, that's where our money is. And so we're included in this. However, I will tell you that DSA, there was a law passed last year, I believe, that student housing is exempt from, in our community colleges, is exempt from DSA. So, but if students are occupying it, what'd you say, Morley?
Student housing is exempt, but then you have to go to the city for
Yeah, then it becomes that local political, but yeah, it's a different game that you
So
play.
do we have open jobs or pending closed jobs on file with the DSA currently?
We do.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is one.
Is it, yeah, Morley, like, let's talk about that, because if you don't have your closed jobs closed, it delays your approval in DSA.
Yeah, we have multiple closed projects, certified projects on campus.
Uh-huh.
The only project that isn't certified at this point is the Stadium Event Center. We were in a meeting this afternoon with the architect. We're working on that portion now. I know Dr. Walden asked about the 301P here a few weeks ago, and I assured him I'm staying on top of it. And we met with Steve from LPA and one of the principals. That again was brought up this afternoon. Hey, I'm waiting for final verified reports from the architect so I can do my final DSA 6PI. Bernard's, and I'm a straight shooter, and not everybody likes what I say. They're a piece of crap.
Agreed.
You know,
Concur.
I can't get them to file their 6Cs. I've been on them. I've got emails. We discussed that again today with LPA. One of the principals at LPA said he was gonna reach out to one of the principals at Bernard's to try and get them going. I know Jennifer's working with Bernard's over on.
Not anymore, I don't work there
Okay. But all in all of our projects are certified,
Right.
except this building right here.
Yeah, and this building not being certified would not hold up a central plant design and approval.
So,
Are you sure?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
Okay.
so this, so I was notified by the DSA a few weeks ago, which is why I got ahold of Morley and Eric and God and everybody else, basically saying you guys are occupying a building illegally. Like, we're not
We're
supposed to be in here.
squatters?
That was the basic of the
Morley.
letter.
It's amazing that somebody at the state even can audit and know that, you know?
A
They're always
6PI was done for the building with a 211 attached. That is items that aren't complete. And as what was holding us up was the track
Right.
of the site work card. There's two cards on this. There's a 152 card 1, which is the building, and a 152 card SW, which is the site work.
Well,
So.
you're
we're
an expert
legal.
on all this. All I read was you're doing
You're
something
squatting.
illegal with this
squatting.
property. That's what they said to me.
And there were multiple emails that, I'm not trashing your email up with it. Eric, me working with the architect,
We'll get that fixed.
that,
But the point is that we're getting it fixed, and that's why we haven't had a ribbon cutting yet. Once it's ours and it's all certified and we're completed, and we have certification of completion, then we'll talk about ribbon cutting.
Morley,
Until
if
then,
you
we
need
squat.
help getting people to do things, I'm told that Mary has a lovely phone voice.
He knows Mary really well, so.
believe me, I do too.
No,
lovely phone
no.
voice?
I heard Mary has the best phone voice.
I want to walk back, if you don't mind.
People get on airplanes when she calls.
They better.
Our central plant, we have one chiller right now, and me and Eric's discussed it, that has an oil pump problem. Had an oil pump problem since, about the middle of summer. And it hasn't been addressed, it hasn't been fixed. They say they're gonna fix it, it hasn't been fixed. So that issue needs to get fixed, or all heck's gonna break
So
loose.
use your phone voice.
Yeah, we'll get it fixed.
All heck's gonna break
Yeah.
loose. And me and Eric, we've talked about all that and what have you. And then I wanna address something, Jennifer, to your comment. Doing this new central plant, is that going to help the buildings that we're getting complaints in right now? Yes and no. Because there's several buildings on campus, and I've been here about 6.5 years. I know Eric's new. A lot of you guys know me up here. We have issues in the gym, building 32, building 31, multiple other buildings that doing this central plant's not gonna fix some of those issues, but we have been working on them. So, now, I do wanna say one other thing now that,
Well, we have a different plan to fix those.
yep,
Tear it down.
So, no, we're gonna get an army in here and fix those, because it's enough already.
Agree.
I do wanna say building 50 and 52 is on the chilled water loop, but it's not on the heating loop. We have boilers in building 52, 50, PAC. There's boilers in them building. So those can be put on the central plant heating system. Why it wasn't done, it was kind of, I wasn't real involved then, but 50 and 52 should have been done. And the same with building 23, the student service building. That should have been completely on the central plant system.
Yeah, so we'll look at all those issues as we move forward. And this addition of the central plant will help us solve some of those issues, get them all in a more efficient system while addressing the other HVAC issues. we
So
have
those
across the
other
college.
issues that Morley just pointed out, we're not waiting on the central plant for
No,
those.
absolutely not.
We're gonna get on those we're on those now.
Yep,
So we're gonna bring in people to, however many army of HVAC people from the area to get those fixed.
So generally, though, when there is an unclosed job at DSA, it does stop the next progression of jobs for the,
I mean, you can have multiple projects going on with DSA within the same campus. It's when they're closed uncertified.
right.
And we're not gonna get to that point. We're gonna not let this project close uncertified. Then it's a cost to the district to reopen it. That means you bring in an architect to reopen it to DSA. We're not gonna allow that to happen.
But it also delays them opening your next job.
Yeah, close uncertified.
Yeah, okay,
But we're not doing that.
No.
okay. Sounds good.
I have a question, but my question is for you, Dr. Walden. And as you know, I'm new here, and we're throwing out some terms that I'm not familiar with, like DSA. And I know I'll get an understanding of that in time, but as a person who runs the budget for his own household, my concern, not my concern, but my question has to do with the budget, the facilities budget, and timing of a commitment of this magnitude. So I haven't seen the facilities budget, and I wonder, how a commitment of this magnitude at this time, and maybe you can tell me how a commitment of this magnitude at this time will impact our aim to maintain a positive financial certification.
So first of all, the general fund that operates the college is unconnected to this.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
it has nothing to do with this. We have our own funds for facilities.
Okay.
And there's plenty of money in those funds.
Awesome.
There's enough money to pay for this whole central plant, the 9 million, 10 million, whatever it ends up being.
But you can't.
We still are going to go after the money from the state, even if it comes after we're done with the central plant, which is what happened before. That's why there was this GIC thing, is the college went application from the state, and while they were waiting on that, they went ahead and built and paid for the building out of local bond money. And so then when the money finally came from the state, the college put it in this GIC fund.
I see.
And it can only stay in there so many years, and then you either have to send the money back or use it. Well, we had it. It was here when I got here, so it had until December 31st of 2024, and we had it taken care of by then. But there's ample money, and it has nothing to do with the solvency of the college in
Great.
regard to its operational budget.
Thank you.
That's a totally different fund.
Thank you for the
But Doc,
clarification.
is any of that bond money? I mean, is some of this bond money
No.
that would use?
If we have to use bond money, we will,
Yeah,
but
because we've already.
at this point, we have 21 million in the bond fund.
Yeah,
But if we have to, we would use it, but at this point, we're not looking to use that. We're using capital outlay money.
okay. Eric, we had not really good luck with LPA. So how do we pick this architectural firm, or have we picked it?
We have. So PCH was selected before I got here. So I have experience with PCH down the hill. Morley's had great experience with PCH, done several projects with them. So we're confident that they'll be able to do this. We also have PCH designing the parking lot over here for the event center. And so, yeah, we've selected PCH, and this is a PCH proposal.
Okay,
And Morley, if I'm right, we've used PCH here at the college with great success, so we love them. Yeah, but we don't like LPA.
I just want to go on the record, and the second thing, Dr. Dan, I remember when you and Morley and I and John Nolan walked the stadium, and we talked about when are we going to bring the attorney in? Emails, Morley, in our business, we'll send you one or two, and then all of a sudden the attorney gets involved and it gets solved. So when are we going to bring the attorney in to get Bernard's to the table?
We're close. So I get a crack at them next, and then it might be real soon.
Okay. So I think I've been a part of 7 buildings since I've been here. Now, the one-stop shop, that's not on the cooling system, is it?
No,
Okay. And this isn't.
no.
Is the SAC on it? Is the
SAC.
SAC on the cooler?
Yes.
Okay.
The
So-
central plant.
So my question is, if we deactivated that and put separate air conditioning and heating in all these buildings, what would that cost look like?
So probably more than 9 million, and then your electricity bill would be quadruple.
Yeah, okay.
So that's really where your expense would be moving down the road of
Okay.
powering those individual units.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Joe?
Thank you. Sorry
Thank
for all
you.
the questions.
Thanks, Morley.
Kirsten Acosta Foundation.
Good evening, everyone.
What
Nice
can
to
you
see
tell us
all.
about air conditioning?
Unfortunately, no.
I got it.
Waiting just for our PowerPoints. Oh, thank you, Tim. So go to our next slide. So we have been very busy notifying our esteemed recipients for our upcoming gala. So for our Distinguished Service to Community Award, it's Bill Edwards. For those of you who may not know, he oversees the rescue mission here in Victorville. The President's Award is Diana Carloni O'Malley. The President's Award is picked by the Superintendent President of the college, the Foundation Board President, and the Board of Trustees President. Our Distinguished Service to Education is Dennis Bender. He's a teacher in Apple Valley High School. Our Alumni Hall of Fame inductee is Terry Caldwell. And our Young Alumni Hall of Fame inductee is Kim Aguilar. So that's who we will be honoring. Do you have a question?
Terry's not already in?
I'm sure they checked.
No, he was a distinguished.
He was a distinguished, he received.
Yeah, so.
That is correct. He won in a different category, but that does not exclude you from being nominated for
That's
Hall of
awesome.
Fame.
Is Chris
That's
here?
awesome.
Is Chris Nunes here?
Probably. In the
He
back.
is?
Is it? Oh,
He heard you.
So this is, so,
He's like, dang it.
so, Brent, I think that you'll appreciate this, or anybody that knows Brent, that knows Terry. Last May, when we were handing out scholarships, we got done, and the three of us were standing out there. There's Fred Hunter and Terry and I. And Terry sat down and he said, you know, wow, this is just really, really cool. He said, you know, having been an alumni here. And I turned and I said, alumni? He said, yeah, I took a class. When did you take a class? It was over on Bobby Drive. So I said to Chris, I said, I think this would be a great way to honor, I mean, what Terry's done for this valley and you know, what Pat's done for education. I just think it just kind of goes together, so.
I really thought Terry already was.
so I
Just
appreciate
Not
your
as
memory.
alumni.
He did
Yeah.
win for community service.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
yeah, but now he's alumni.
So if you could just get them to recreate that dance from that one event, that would be great.
Right.
Then we can do that.
Yeah.
So, next slide, please. So for our Giving Tuesday, San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, they gifted us a $100,000 grant to go to our Firefighter One Academy. So this is really great for our fire program, to be able to help with those
Amazing.
expenses. Next slide. We also received 2 more grants from Edison. Project Spark is $25,000, and as you can see, the purpose is to support the 50 to 100 Fire Academy students in spring 2025 and fall of 2025. And the scholarships will be up to $500 per student. Southern California Edison STEM Success and Retention is also $25,000, and that supports our STEM students and provides scholarships. And in addition, we use some of that funding for our campus grants that you see when we announce those. I also wanted to add that we received from Mitsubishi Cement. So at President's Circle, Austin Marshall, who's the president COO of Mitsubishi Cement, was so impressed with our restaurant management and our music department. And for those of you who were there, rightfully so, he immediately pulled me aside and said, I want to give $1,500 to each program, and has already pledged that.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's
Yay.
great.
That was wonderful. Next slide, please.
Steve probably twisted his arm a little bit no? He didn't have to.
Our scholarship drive is open. It opened yesterday and it runs through March 15th. We will be doing workshops throughout the campus, and also we reach out to the high schools and present workshops on how they can apply. So if you can recommend anyone, send them our way. You can go right to our website, vvcfoundation.com, or send them to our office. We're happy to help. And next slide, please. And of course, the gala, you know, I'm going to mention the gala every time, February 22nd, right here at this event center, and then we'll be honoring those wonderful people I mentioned.
Yay.
And that's all for my report, unless there are any questions.
Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kirsten.
Very exciting.
All right, that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, I think Tim's got the photos. We can circle back to.
Oh, my goodness.
Do you not?
Like the
oh,
jet.
Do you not want to see photos? Does everybody not want to see pictures? He's just going to run through real quick. Quick.
Everybody give the thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Or not so quick. You just run through them.
Aw. Oh, Bill. Bill.
There we go. There they are. There's Bill.
He's so mad at you right now.
There's Bill right there. Liaison work. All right, there we go. Just a couple of
That
photos.
was so worth all of that talking.
You know, I will say this for those, I know there's a lot of people that get into that whole thing. Gannett said that this area spends more money on awards than any other area.
Like the high desert, the
Like,
Mojave River Valley?
Yeah, within all the areas that they do, and they're the largest newspaper in the country.
I mean,
Yeah, it does have a great turnout.
it's positive.
Right, it's cool. All right, 7.1, Academic Senate. 7.2, AFT part-time.
Not here.
7.3, ASB.
Hello.
Again.
We're always here. All right, just a couple of things. There's a lot of new things coming into ASB. We just recently appointed 5 new council members, as well as laterally moving a couple of ours to reorganize our board. We are preparing resolutions for the Student Senate of California Community Colleges. We will be submitting 3. I will make sure of it. And we are also working on identifying the members that will be attending our ASAC conference in Washington, D.C. And that will be all. Oh, wait, one more thing. ASB Retreat, July 10th through the 13th, 2025. Just a heads up.
July 10th.
I did tell
Highly
Bill,
recommend you add that to your calendars.
I will not be able, I'll break my string. I won't be there, unfortunately, so.
10th through the 13th.
Are you going somewhere fun?
Can't say.
Can't say, he never says. It's always so.
I'll tell you when I get back.
So secret.
That's too long for me to wait. I'm not a good waiter.
7.4, CSEA.
Not here.
7.5, waiting patiently,
Here.
CTA. Waiting not so patiently, CTA.
Amazing.
He loves coming when there's something about an audit.
You think I was paying attention?
You'll sleep well tonight.
So a few issues. Wow, I don't really need that. All right. So over the winter, got to bring up the Canvas IT problems, SAS. We had professors that it wouldn't allow them to finish grading their students' work. And then there wasn't really anybody we could get in touch with right away over the winter. Obviously, they all email me, and then I have to get off the couch from watching Netflix all winter.
I want that list,
bummer.
that watch list. I would like to get a.
I was like, my thumb was having convulsions by quitting. And then I had a big panic. I had a whole bunch of professors email me. Their courses on Canvas disappeared where they were trying to set them up in the middle of winter too. You know, one thing, people think, oh, you have this time off. They're actually, a lot of them are actually working, getting stuff ready while they're on break. And for that to go down and things just disappear. And I was actually point, I don't want to hear any more excuses. It just needs to be fixed. Because I feel like sometimes I put this in, well, you know, this went wrong and that. I'm like, I don't care. So it did finally get fixed and stuff started showing up. But I am the front line. I have to hear all that as soon as it starts going down. So it's kind of interesting. I've also got to talk about one of the action item from Human Resources, 13.2. There's a new management, job classification, and salary placement for program manager in athletics, the head football coach. I was notified there are groups on campus, faculty that have problems with that job description because it includes a lot of things designated that are supposed to be for counseling. And you've got somebody that's a / manager, coach, doing a job that by law they actually shouldn't be. And I'll read some of the duties here. I probably don't know if I have them all. Work with the athletic director to develop short and long-range planning for overall student success initiative, including student academic progress, matriculation and degree completion and transfer. Those are counselor duties. Assist student athletes in academic and athletic preparation for transfer to four-year colleges. Transfer is a counselor activity. Advise, evaluate, and mentor student athletes. So this again, overlap. Develops and delivers workshops on topics designed to assist at-risk student athletes acclimate to a college environment. That's another counselor activity. Initiates, oversees, and directs the collection and reporting of student data to measure and evaluate student success, including retention, persistence rates, passing rates, high school graduation rates, academic achievement scores, college entrance information. Develops and maintains student tracking systems, ensure compliance with program eligibility standards.
As you can see, some of those are also college counselor duties again. What the issue is too is when I go to the requirements for that position, the requirements for the coach basically is it's equivalent to a bachelor's degree from an accredited college university with a major coursework in education, physical education, kinesiology, or a close related field. That's what the education experience, and 5 years coaching experience at the collegial level, preferably in designated sport. And then the license certifications is a California driver's license. The problem we run into is the law, AB 1725, is actually what establishes the minimum qualifications for counseling for doing those duties. And it's a master's degree in a related field. It's not a coach. You can actually, there are a few fields that don't only require a bachelor's degree and 2 years of experience. That would be in a counselor for, there's about 150 different things they list. Just a few examples though. Administrative justice, automotive technology, carpentry, office technologies, real estate, electronics, graphic arts. Those require a bachelor's. Again, you're trying to make the coach go over. If you're interested in this topic, you can go to the chancellor's office. You can get their handbook on what are the minimum qualifications. This is also bleeds into a Senate issue because these things are also part of a book we have to go to for equivalency when you're hiring a faculty member for a position that doesn't have a direct qualification for it. So obviously we need to have this re-looked at, and I would suggest contacting counselors to write an appropriate job qualification for how a coach should be working with the counselors. Thank you.
Management?
Good evening. I wanted to talk about the Performing Arts Center tonight, lovingly called the PAC here at VDC. When I became the Dean of Haas, under my purview is theater arts and music. However, the Performing Arts Center was not actually under my purview until the reorg of auxiliary services. And so about June or July was when I say take over, but I won't really call it taking over the PAC. Because what I wanted to do tonight is share kind of a year in review of all of the events that the PAC has put on. As we sit down here and we celebrate our beautiful event center, I don't want the PAC to go, unnoticed or be forgotten. So this is everything that the PAC has done in 2024, at least that they're willing to tell me about, because I know that there's work that they won't even admit to. So I know that there's been focus on collaboration. Next slide, Tim. So we have put on in the PAC a total of 149 total shows. So that is an average of 3 shows per week. 113 of those were events for on-campus organizations, and 36 of those events were community events. 95 on-stage rehearsals have taken place in the PAC, and there have been 18 outreach events taking place in the PAC. This is a picture up here of our faculty and staff talent show, and you see our very own Haley Teeter up there who participated in that. Next slide, Tim. Some of the other events were theater arts put on West Side Story, Flora and Ulysses. Both of those I was able to come and watch with my family, and they were just outstanding. Much Ado About Nothing, Holes, and Lysistrata. Next slide, Tim. Theater Arts Outreach. Our new full-time faculty member, Emily Ruiz, she was temporary full-time last year, and now she is our real full-time. She is huge in collaborating with our local drama programs at the local high schools, and she put on a drama teacher collaboration with all of the drama teachers from the local high schools, and you'll see that picture up there on the right, where they brainstormed how to be innovative and expand their drama programs, filtering their students into our programs, as well as a high school theater festival where over 200 local theater students from the desert came, and they were able to make props in our prop room, and they were able to sew in our costuming room. And another one of those is going to occur in the next couple of months, and they're estimating close to 350 students will be coming to that one. Next slide, Tim. Music events. The neat thing about our music events is that we have our students that are enrolled here for transfer, but we also have our non-credit music classes, and that's when our community members come in. And what I love to see at those events, and you can see up in these pictures, is we have students enrolled in our non-credit programs from like 10 years old up to 85 years old from Jess Ranch. And they are participating in those orchestras and community bands, and it's just a really neat thing to see. Next. Dance recitals. So our dance program and our kinesiology program, they host their dance recitals in our PAC. Next. And our community events, and this is a very, very small snapshot of the community events. The Dancers Point out of Apple Valley hosts many events here, including their yearly Nutcracker. The more gory picture up there is the haunted house that our PAC guys put on that you know was part of our huge trunk or treat event that occurred. Ballet Folklorico and our Victor Valley Community Concert Association put on many events here as well. Next slide. And I end with this because this is Matthew and Andrew, and they wouldn't come tonight because they are typical behind the stage guys who want to stay behind the stage and don't want to be out in the spotlight. So I found these cute pictures of them online to put up here. And our PAC technicians are just our unsung heroes. They have just been such a blessing to work with since I took over the PAC, and I just can't say enough about them. I put a website up there as well because they have been very diligent about updating the PAC website with all of the upcoming events, how you can contact them. And it really is, you tell them what kind of event you want to host, and they just take it and run with it and make it happen. So I did just want to share that, and I'm kind of glad to share something positive in the manager's report. Thank
Love
you.
it.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Any items, anybody request any items pulled from the consent agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Second, or motion by Brady, second by Tarpley, and student advisory.
Yes.
Did it come up?
I didn't see it.
Did it come up? No?
I don't know, there's a big flag in the way.
I know, right, Dan, like, there we go. Break? Before we move on to
You
action?
know I always.
I know Jen can't refuse a break, so we'll do like maybe a 10-minute back at, we'll do a 9-minute, 7:40.
Ooh, I love
Back
it.
here.
9 minutes. Starting now. Do we know where the Del Taco went?
Sewell's
Haley.
probably hiding it over there.
Haley took them
Oh, Haley?
at the
Yep.
direction.
Haley swooped the Del Taco?
It's in Chris's office if he wants some. And then they have cookies and fruit up front too.
Up front or in the back?
Up in the back, yeah.
I went to Chris's office. Why? One, he's here.
was impressive. You stay awake and alive and.
You guys just wanted to see the pictures of Bill with Miss California?
You'll see them at Friday's meeting as well.
All right, here we go. Back at it. We're gonna finish it in 20 minutes. Here we go. All right, public comment related to action agenda items. We do have public comment on 13.2. We'll take that public comment now by Miss Melanie M. Is it Dubé Price?
Yep.
Dubé.
Dubé.
It's French.
It is French.
I like it.
So yes, good evening. My name is Melanie Dubé-Price. I'm the counselor lead pathway for PSIT. So I am located at the Regional Public Safety Center. So you may not always see me. Oh, got too loud now.
Hold on. Tim, was the audio, will the video have got her with her microphone off? Can we start over?
Okay.
Sorry. Just because
okay.
the video wouldn't have caught it.
No, that's fine. So my name is Melanie Dubé-Price. I am the lead PSIT counselor, and I am located at the Regional Public Safety Center. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts regarding that proposed job description, program manager, athlete. It is potentially overlapping with counseling responsibilities. As it was mentioned, it's only requiring a bachelor's degree. We do require a master's degree to be a counselor here. I am speaking today from my perspective, but I have had the discussion with fellow counselors who share varying levels of concern on this matter as well. My main concern is that there's a lack of clear distinction between support roles and the duties of trained counselors. While support roles are essential to student success, the language in the job description seems to blur these boundaries. This raises the risk of responsibilities traditionally held by counselors being carried out by others, which could impact both the quality and consistency of services provided to our students. A few examples are planning the academic success. The job description mentions developing short and long-term plans that include matriculation, strategies, transfer preparation, and degree completion. These tasks closely align with the expertise of counselors who are trained and credentialed to provide tailored academic and career guidance. Advising and mentoring. This description also includes advising and evaluating students, activities that are inherently involved in creating educational plans and preparing for transfer. For some students, this may even extend to career changes or major transitions beyond their college sports careers. Without clear boundaries, this overlap could create confusion about roles and undermine the specialized expertise counselors bring to these areas. The integrity of the counseling service relies on clearly defined roles. Counselors bring specific training, qualifications, and experience to their work, particularly when addressing the complex needs of our diverse student population. Allowing overlap without proper boundaries risks diluting the services and can result in inconsistencies in the student's experience. I'm a mom of a college-level athlete, so I understand the support needed for athletes to succeed, including balancing their school load during competition and preparation season. I want our program to thrive, which is why it's crucial to ensure counselors are not excluded from this process. Clear boundaries should be established to the job description to define the roles and responsibilities effectively. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. 10.2, second read of Board Policy 3430. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Tarpley. Any discussion? Student advisory vote.
Yes.
Ten point three, second read of Board Policy 3410. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Tarpley.
It's funny you're not getting our voices confused.
Right. Student advisory vote?
Yes.
Wait, what? 10.4, second read and approval of Board Policy 3433. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Tarpley. Any discussion? Student advisory vote?
Yes.
Twelve point one, agreement with Cambridge West Partners. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Tarpley. Discussion? Student advisory vote?
Yes.
Twelve point two, contract agreement with PCH Architects. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion
this is the,
by,
Cooling.
motion by Brady, second by Tarpley.
This is the $601,000 for the architect to design the central plant.
I'll learn more about this process later this month, I imagine.
Yeah, possibly.
And hopefully, as long as you're here, you'll question
It's just amazing.
Steve, I look at it as a fleecing.
Yeah.
It's like what Tom Brokaw called, fleecing America.
Yep. Student advisory?
Yes.
And wait till you see where we have to buy stuff from.
Twelve point three, emergency agreement with the High Desert Underground, Inc. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion by
Save you,
Brady,
Jennifer.
second by Terrell.
So this is an emergency agreement, so this by law requires a vote of at least 4 yeas of the board because it was, I believe, a $90,000 expenditure. My limit is 64, which usually always goes under a consent agenda, but because it was a leak between two buildings, hydronic leak, we had to get it fixed in December, so that's why it's here as an emergency agreement. And I'm required to point that out.
Student advisory?
Yes.
Twelve point four, agreement addendum for Time Clock Plus LLC. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Terrell. Discussion? Student advisory?
Yes.
Twelve point five, agreement with Cambridge West Partnership LLC. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Tarpley.
So this is still with Cambridge West, but it's an absolutely different, unrelated project to the earlier one. And it's a different group of their people working on this. So that's why you have two to the same company, but it's really unrelated.
Student advisory?
Yes.
Twelve point six, agreement with CDW Government LLC regarding switches.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Griffin.
Is this going to improve the internet capabilities that we've been having problems with?
No, but I haven't heard of any internet problems on campus lately to speak of. We pretty much upgraded all of that using our HERF money during the pandemic. What this is about is end-of-life replacement on switches across the campus. It would keep us from having problems because it does go into network supporting mobile and cloud applications.
Thank you. Bless you.
Student advisory?
Yes.
I apologize, Haley, I accidentally tapped my thing and voted before you said yes, but
The audacity.
I know. I don't care what you think. 12.7, oh, well, wait. Did it go?
I thought I saw it.
Yep, okay. 12.7 fiscal year 2023, 2024, district financial audit and bond measure JJ, financial performance audit. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Tarpley.
All right, so somebody's already asked me, one of the board members, could they get a copy of the audit? It is attached to this particular item. So if you want a printed out copy, if you will get a hold of my office, Stephanie Schrum over there hiding behind the flag. And I apologize that this was not set up correctly, but we will hopefully fix that once and for all before the next board meeting. But anyway, if you contact Stephanie, she'll print one out for you. If you want it electronically, it's just go to your board docs and click on the attachment.
Student advisory?
Yes.
There's one for the bond measure and one for the remaining part of the finances.
Thirteen point one, non-academic, non-classified personnel and professional expert salary schedule updates. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Tarpley. Any discussion?
This updates our non-academic, non-classified personnel. These are all part-time people to reflect the raise in minimum wage that took place January 1 in California.
Student advisory?
Yes.
13.2, looking for a motion to table.
Well, get it on the floor and then you can table it.
Okay, we'll do that. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion
So-
by Brady, second by Tarpley, and looking for a
So-
motion to
So I
table.
do want to request, so I just want to make this statement so that the faculty know that I made the request to table this one and also the next one. Due to what we heard tonight, those were important things that David and Melanie brought up. So
For further review.
I'm asking that we table both of them.
I make a motion that we table.
I second
this
that
item
motion.
to the next item.
Well, let's go 13.3. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Well, did you have the vote to table?
No, they're doing them both
We're
at
gonna
the same
combine 'em.
time. 13.3, motion by Brady, second by Tarpley. And now, Joe, your motion?
Motion to table both
Second.
items.
Motion to table by Brady, seconded by Tarpley. You just want a verbal vote, Stephanie, because we did them together? Aye.
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 Oh, student advisory vote.
Yes.
I reaffirm my aye vote. You thought you had me.
Yeah, I reaffirm.
You had me, I
What a
forgot.
lawyer.
You had me.
I think Jennifer kicked him.
Right?
Nope.
No, they put a little
I
blocker
know,
in so we
there's a
can't
block. I can't
kick
kick any
each
of them
other.
anymore.
13.4, public hearing on the district and AFT Part-Time Faculty United Local 6286 AFL-CIO. Proposals for successor collective bargaining agreement. We will hereby declare the public hearing open. Anybody can step forward to the podium and say whatever you want to say. Seeing no takers, Tim's pointing at the podium, he thought about it. Seeing no takers, we will close the public hearing and we will take a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Tarpley, second by Griffin. Student advisory?
Yes.
Oh, I have the hiccups.
Need water? You got water?
No.
All right, 14.1, out-of-state student travel, KCACTF, Theater Festival.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Tarpley, second by Brady. Any discussion? Student advisory vote?
Yes.
Of course. Go learn.
There we go. 14.2, change order number 1 to purchase, to the purchase agreement with TEC Equipment 2024, electric semiconductors, I presume. Let's see.
No, electric.
Semi,
Truck.
there we
It's a
go.
truck.
Yeah, semi
2024 Volvo VNRE 565 kilowatt for the CDL program. Is there a motion?
Second.
Do we know if we applied for or if any grants for clean air were submitted for this? Because, recently I had to buy quite a few electric vehicles and we were granted substantial
Come on up.
grant money, both from the Mojave Air Quality Management District as well as the state.
Mackenzie's going to respond to this.
There we go, Mackenzie.
And the answer is?
Yes and no. So the first time, this is the second time it's coming to board. The first time it came to board substantially less because we were working with the vendor in securing a grant. And so it was around, it was about maybe $200,000 less than what you see now. Unfortunately, the vendor was unable to secure that grant. So the money we received to purchase this expires if we don't expend it, I want to say end of February, early March. And so we no longer have an opportunity to apply for any additional grants. We changed vendors. So unfortunately, we did not get any grant to supplement this. But we got a grant to buy it, and that money is expiring, hence hindering our ability to go out for another grant.
Understood, thanks.
Further question or discussion?
No, just I think Steve's, trustee Terrell's suggestion is good.
For sure. And student advisory?
Yes.
Oh, we didn't motion it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Motion Brady, second Tarpley.
I thought we did.
we did, and then
It's
I
in my
asked the
notes.
question.
Yeah.
I waited for that.
We never could have got to discussion without a motion and a second with
I mean,
Robert Sewell in the
we
room.
Could have, because we do a lot of things out of order.
Robert Sewell would have pumped the brakes. Student advisory, did I get that?
Yes.
All right,
You did.
now we're off the
I wrote it
rails.
all down.
14. Gotta wait. There we go. 14.3, purchase agreement, Engelman Truck Sales for a water truck.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Tarpley. Any discussion?
That's a good idea.
And student advisory?
Yes.
Fourteen point four, curriculum changes. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
And discussion, student advisory?
Yes.
Fourteen point five, workforce development, community education. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Terrell.
$200,000
Discussion.
income to the district.
We love it.
Perfect, love it. Student advisory?
Yes.
14.6, Workforce Development, Victor Elementary School District. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Terrell. Any discussion? Student advisory?
Yes.
And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
There we
I'd
go.
like to compliment our president. We are done in 2 hours.
We're done at 8 o'clock.
Bingo.
Like I said, done at 8 o'clock.
It's impressive.
That's, you get applause. You finish by 8, you get applause. All right.
Noted.
There used to be a time that if we got done early, Roger would buy ice cream.
Yeah. Doc Raj.
Did they really? Yeah, no, he was really big.
That's how you get applause.
I love it, but I love it, but I don't need it.
There we go. Burn through it.
Good job. Sorry, did that hurt?
No.
My Madrid ring?
So school going good? You getting school done?
Hands, I didn't knock his diamond out again, did I?
It's secured. I've taken it twice to the jeweler. And they refunded it because the diamond fell out.
Oh, really? You contacted him? Hey, so this is what I'm thinking for 2 reasons. One, because Kathleen always does like, oh, we always